Miranda, the hole is filling in over there.
Yeah, right? Slowly but surely. I know when you sent it to me, I was like, that wasn't from because that's not our team. Like, that's not. They're rebuilding the wall because we had to rip the wall down.
Yeah, they're dropping boulders back into place. I wish I could do it that easily.
Right? It's incredible. But that's like, we tore the wall down and then we were like, your turn, you fix it. So it's being fixed by other people. We just made the mess to be fixed.
Do we have to pour concrete to build up a manhole or something down there?
No, we won't want to because those are service lines. So it's just gonna get filled back in with dirt. It's really interesting. It's like a main to a service line. It's kind of an awkward connection over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an awkward time of year. Why didn't have the courtesy to break in July?
I always joke, I'm like, I feel like water main breaks happen when it's cold or it's like on a Friday, but everyone wants to go home. And it's like, oh, but it happened on a Thursday when it was cold, and the next day was a holiday, so the whole team had to come in. Yeah, it's a good time. But Andrew didn't. Andrew luckily got to sneak away.
Wow. Did who found what was the symptoms? Was there something? Did we just notice a drop in pressure or something bubbling up on top?
It was actually a leak that was coming above ground. It was kind of that Steve noticed. Steve Carew noticed, and it was a pretty steady stream of water. And they thought that they had resolved the issue, and when they turned the water off, turned the water back on, didn't see the stream of water. But then a couple hours later, it came back. So, I mean, it just ended up being a leak and a complicated fix.
Cool.
Barb was like, "Can we write a story?" I was like, "I don't know what to say. The leak happened. We fixed it. There's no more leak." It seems like a good story.
Looks like we've got a quorum tonight. That's good.
Yeah, and this is your group.
Great. Okay. It's 7:01. Should we call her to order?
Yes.
You have to get started.
Mayor Pro Tem Hold.
Here.
Alternate Cornell.
Here.
Alternate Bliss. Alternate Bliss, can you hear us?
Did you say Bliss?
I did say Bliss. Sorry, can you hear me?
I'm not an alternate though, right?
Oh, sorry, Member Bliss. No, you're not an alternate.
No problem.
Sorry. Member Bliss. He's here. Member Seepick.
Here.
And Member Villalon, who is now a member but was an alternate, who had left us, Tom. He's not here. We lost Ryan.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. I thought he just saw him here a minute ago.
He's back.
Okay, great.
Member Villalon, are you there? Ryan?
One more time, Miranda.
Ryan, are you there?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. We've got them all.
Okay, excellent. So we have a quorum. We can get started. Let's start with public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody? There's no room to be in, but who's registered to speak?
We do not.
Okay, then let's put the poll out. We don't have anybody set up to speak, okay?
No, the two representatives here, Brittany and Kyle, are here for their variance application.
Great. Okay, excellent. So we can move on to action items number 5.
Yes.
Then we will.
Wait 1 second. I'm sorry. Sure. What about the minutes?
Oh,
yes. Good point. Good point. Thanks for getting
my old packet. Miranda. Yes, I have two sets of minutes here for you. They are what I did here, and it may be different for you who previously worked with Cynthia's minutes. I do more action-oriented minutes, just capturing really the kind of the bulk of the final vote, and so that's why you've got shorter minutes here. But we do the minutes from July 14th and November 10th for review. Let me know if there are any changes and approval. Jennifer, it's not really a consent. Can they be approved together or should they be done separately?
I can't, in my case, approve both because I was only at one of them.
So I think the challenge across the board, Jennifer, is none of these members were here except for Andrew in July.
So can we have those members vote to amend or approve? And
But
then,
well, there's only 2 members on the actual Board of Zoning Adjustment who were present for the July meeting. We don't even have quorum for the July meeting minute.
what does that tell us, or what do we have to do about that?
Could we have, I don't know the rotation of the members of the BZA. Is it possible that at the next meeting there would be?
That's
No,
probably
because
why.
only Mark Mole and Andrew Bliss were on the board in July. The other 3 members, Giblin, Davenport, and who am I forgetting? The third one,
Baumhofer.
Yeah.
Baumhofer, thank you, were the other members in July.
Well, I think what you could do is you could do a motion to approve, recognizing that you weren't members at the time. I mean, it's more of an administrative function.
I will
Okay.
make a motion to approve the July, oh my gosh, it's July 10th minutes,
July 14th.
July 14th minutes.
Second,
Okay. Member Bliss,
Yes.
member Villalon. Am I saying that right,
Yes.
Lorraine? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Alternate Cornell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold,
yes.
member CPEC.
Yes.
Okay. And then we can move on to the November 10th minutes. Before I make a motion, did anybody see anything that caught their eye or that isn't inaccurate? Sounds like we're good. Then I make a motion to approve the BZA minutes for Thursday, November 10th. You have a second?
Second.
Okay. And can you call the vote, Brenda?
Alternate Cornell,
Yes.
member Villalon,
Yes.
member Bliss,
Yes.
member CPEC,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold.
Yes. Good. Okay. Thanks for catching that, Jennifer. I appreciate it. The last call for public comment, since we're back to that again. Okay, hearing none, we go on to action items. Miranda, do you want to discuss the 5.1, the Little Bear Fence variance resolution?
Yes, so as we mentioned, and as the action or as the final motion was on November 10th, the BZA directed Attorney Madsen to draft a resolution for the east fence variance. So before you is resolution 2022-04, which does solidify that ruling that you did on November 10th.
Okay, good. Any discussion from the board? And to be clear, this was the east fence resolution. Okay.
This is only the
Nope,
east fence.
nothing to add here.
Who is that? Oh, that's Ryan. Okay. Then I guess we need a motion. I make a motion to approve 5.1, the Little Bear Fence variation resolution for the east fence as described in the AIM.
And that's resolution 2022-04 for the record.
Right. We have
Second.
Okay, good. Miranda, can you call the vote on this?
Member Villalon,
Yes.
alternate Cornell,
Yes.
member Bliss,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold,
Yes.
member CPEC.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, let's move on to 5.2. 47 Doe Trail front yard setback variance application.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold, I think there was, maybe member CPAC let me know otherwise, but maybe there was a desire to a motion to reconsider, and Attorney Madsen, that should happen now, or could that happen after the applicants go for 47 Doe Trail? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Steve, if you want to do something else now.
No, it's after my main concern with with my vote as far as the west side fence for the Little Bear community was visibility. After reviewing everything, my vote has changed because it's really not going to hide anything other than the wheels of a vehicle that would be coming through that corner. So I do change my vote because I understand that there was reason for an appeal from Ellen and Dennis. Is that correct, Miranda?
Yeah, so Ellen and Dennis are interested in looking at an appeal. Now, the way in which they would do that currently as it stands is an appeal through district court. They can always reapply through the Board of Zoning Adjustment, or they could seek a PUD amendment. Those are the options before them. But obviously another option for just this board is if there was a desire to reconsider, but that motion would need to be made by member Seebeck or member Bliss, since they were the individuals who voted no on that variance. But I don't know if Attorney Madsen, if we can let 47 Doe Trail go and let them not stick around for this conversation and come back, or how that might work. But I'm sure Brittany and Kyle would love to only be with us.
Could we do it in other business?
Well, yes, we can do it after the other item, 47 Doe Trail. And I guess it just depends on how it all plays out. So
Are you guys, is everybody okay with that? If we come back and address this in a little bit?
Well, can I ask a question? I'm just a little confused to why, I mean, when you approve the minutes, you're just approving what was actual factual. We're not voted to approve the minutes.
The minutes are still accurate.
And Roger, I think what Steve wants to do is a motion to reconsider.
But is that to reconsider the findings?
No, it's a motion to reconsider that motion that was made related to the west fence.
Okay.
And to the motion, I believe, was to direct me to draft a resolution approving the variance for the west fence.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be the quickest and easiest way to do it, is to simply vote for the variance or vote for approval of the variance for the west fence for Little Bear?
Well, but first, before you do that, you have to do a motion to reconsider. So you can't just change your vote.
Okay.
Yeah, step one.
Okay, so I motion to reconsider the vote for the variance for the west fence for Little Bear.
Am I allowed to second?
Yeah.
Okay, then I second.
And so what you have before you, the motion to reconsider will effectively negate the previous decision on that motion by the BZA. So essentially, the fact that the variance was denied, that negates that denial decision, but then that variance will be before you, and somebody would need to make a new motion on approval.
December 1st meeting, right?
Well, it could be tonight,
Okay.
or it could be at a later meeting.
Okay. Do we have enough? Do we have? Yeah, we do have enough to vote.
And was everybody there? Did they all attend the hearing?
Yeah. Let's see. Mark Mull chaired that meeting. Member Bliss, Member Seepick, Member McElvain was there, who's not here tonight. And then you were there as an alternate. And at the time, Ryan was an alternate as well.
Correct.
So why don't we, if you have any discussion on the motion to reconsider, you can discuss and debate that motion. But if there isn't any discussion on the motion to reconsider, then Miranda can call the vote and you can decide. Then you find out if that motion passes.
Okay. Okay, the motion's been made, it's been seconded, and now we can do, is there any other discussion? Okay, Miranda?
Mayor Pro Tem Hold,
Yes.
Member Seepick,
Yes.
Alternate Cornell,
I guess just to reconsider, yes.
Member Bliss,
No, just for the same reasons from the last meeting on applying the criteria.
This is
Member-
just a motion to reconsider, though, just so you're clear.
Not
Okay.
to pass.
Okay,
Not
yeah,
for approval.
sure. Yeah, I'm happy to reconsider. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Member Villalon,
Yes.
Okay, now at this point, what are our options, Miranda? Is it something we have to close out tonight, or do we want to wait till other members are back in attendance, or how do we want to handle this?
well, so just as a reminder, you'll only ever have 5 in attendance, so missing 2, it doesn't change your dynamic here.
That's
I think
true. That's
You
true.
have an option to discuss tonight, which you could do now or at the end of the meeting, or you could do this at a different time for another meeting, either next month or your regular meeting in June.
Would it be possible to go ahead and deal with 47 Doe Trail now, and then so that we can get them complete while we're still fresh, and then deal with this a little bit later?
Yes,
We can do that?
yep.
Okay, then I would say let's move on to 47 Doe Trail front yard setback variance application. And I have to say, this is a house I rented back in 1974 when the house was $115,000 back then. And I've got fond memories of the home. And I hope I don't have to recuse myself, but I'd love to hear, it was quite a packet. I'd love to hear what you're proposing.
To you, Tom, I believe that we had sent a script to you. Do you want to review
Okay.
that before we get started?
Yes, indeed. Let's take a look. Okay, so the agenda item is consideration for zoning variance for the front setback at 47 Doe Trail for owner David Felkner and owner's representative Wheeler and Callahan Studio, lot 160-A, Big Springs. What is FLG? Flag? Okay, flag 3 replat A. Is there a script I need? Oh, let me see.
I
I don't-
emailed
if
it
there's
to
a
you a
script, I
little
don't
bit.
have it.
I emailed it to you a little bit later, so it might have come to
Okay.
you at around 5. Sorry about that.
Okay, then I'll take a look for that. There it is. Okay. Okay, we're having a public hearing for the variance on town zoning code pursuant to Article 9, Chapter 16 of the Nederland Municipal Code. Before we begin the public hearing, I would like to provide you with an outline of the process for this public hearing so that everyone knows what to expect. First point, the hearing will start with staff presentation on this report for this variance. Then we'll ask for staff questions. The applicant will then present to the board and will be able to ask the applicant clarifying questions. So the board will be able to ask clarifying questions. Following that comes public comment. The applicant may respond to public comment. The board will then discuss and deliberate on the application. The public hearing is now open for the purpose of considering a variance application related to a request for a front setback variance. Will Miranda Fisher please introduce the item?
Yes, so thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hold. Before you tonight is a consideration of a zoning variance application for the front setback at 47 Doe Trail. This property is located in Mountain Residential, where the minimum setback is 10 feet. What the owner is seeking to do is build a detached garage structure with a conditioned office space above. However, there are some topographical and structural conditions of this property which would make it challenging to build within that current setback requirement. This parcel was sold last year, and prior to selling, there was already some structures in place, being a single family residence, an accessory structure, a concrete pad, and a shed. This home driveway does connect off of Doe Trail, and I provided a few photos in the packet to show kind of the grade and where this home is in location to the street itself. When looking at your code for a variance, when we look at condition A, we do feel the condition is met because the current grade from Doe Trail to the home creates a hindrance. There's also this excavation work that had been previously done, which does also create some challenges with the physical condition of the property. We also feel that condition B, or for criteria B, has been met. The grade concrete pad and that prior excavation work creates physical challenges in order to comply with the front setback. If the owners had to comply with a 30-foot setback, there would have to be some pretty significant physical changes to the property itself. And one of the concerns the applicants noted, and we too as staff have, is what would that do to drainage?
Mm-hmm.
This, again, a lot of the structural pieces were there before the property was purchased by the current owners, and therefore we do feel that criteria C is met and it was not created by the applicant themselves. The applicants did a great job of providing photos of similar setups throughout Big Springs that do show garages closer to the property line. So we don't feel that this variance would alter the neighborhood. But in fact, this is just kind of the situation that many properties in Big Springs find themselves in, primarily because of that slope. So we do feel that criteria D has been met. And then we also feel that criteria E has been met. The owners are looking to build in such a way that it would minimize the visual impacts from the roadway. And what we also really like is how they've outlined that this structure could actually assist as a retaining wall, which is always a benefit, especially in the Big Springs area.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, we recommend approval. I talked with Public Works, Police Department, Fire Department, and no one had any concerns. The fire marshal did provide a list for the owners to consider, but that was specifically related to fire-resistant construction material, propane tank, and a mitigation plan. So it doesn't have anything to do with this variance, but just as these owners move forward, these are things the fire department would like the owners to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight before you, there is no resolution. So similar as last time, if there is a desire to approve this variance, your motion would be to direct a town attorney to draft a resolution, and then we would bring that back for approval. And in your packet is the narrative, which is a very thorough and complete narrative, and so I do appreciate that. A deed, and then that letter from sorry, I wrote town marshal, but it should be from the fire marshal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have as staff.
Thanks, Miranda.
It was a well put together package. It sure when I went and looked at it from above, everything matched, and I think you did a really good analysis of the criteria that we have to make a decision against, and your staff recommendation was clear.
Maybe I do want to be clear, and I'm not sure I was overly clear in my aim. One acknowledgement I have is that the desire is to reduce the front setback to 12 feet from 30 feet for that new detached garage structure. I'm not sure that I was clear and I'm not even sure we have it in the aim. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that it's that reduction from 30 to 12.
thanks for clarifying that the lead was buried. But that's good to know.
By myself, so yes.
Board, do you have questions based on what you've read?
I currently live down the road in Big Springs, and I've visited the property a couple times since this packet came out, and I agree with everything Miranda stated in her packet. I think she did an excellent job putting this together for us, and I agree with their sentiments.
Excellent. Okay.
I drove
Anybody else?
I drove by there today, and I second what Ryan, and Tom, and Miranda have stated. This was great. Thank you.
It's a challenging property.
No, and I think everything was very well presented. It all seems to make sense, and I mean, Roger, I don't know about you, but it sounds like everybody else is on the same page with having no problems with approving at least the moving forward.
No, if you want to hear from me, then it's, there's many problems up there. I believe that, I'm not certain of the date, 1968, Tom, maybe you know, when the subdivision went through. And
I think
so,
68 was the year.
So subdivision came through. I mean, our zoning code was adopted in 82. So it's, there's just so many things about Big Springs that, especially with the properties that way, that make it very hard for development. And yeah, I believe that this was a very good packet. It's very clear. There's just so many problems with building on the slope there that you just have to do that. And that's actually the historical thing that we've always done, is that we just wanted people to come and ask for a variance as opposed to go ahead and building without having proper, going through a process. So this is what we're doing.
Thanks, Roger. Anybody else want to say anything?
It's a public hearing. We can hear from the public at all, or anybody, or
Yep.
from the app.
Once
Okay.
the public comes next, I want to make sure we invite it up with the board first. It sounds like we have. So now it's time for public comment. I'll ask for public comment in favor of the application to speak first. Then I'll ask for public comment for anybody who's against, and we will take public comment in no position. After that, we'll take public comment with no position on the project. Individual speakers, please you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. We have a timekeeping system to keep track of that. Please identify yourself and whether you're a resident. And who do we have in line? Miranda, if we started to sort that out.
Yeah, so Mayor Pro Tem, you actually have no members of the public, as Kyle and Brittany are the applicants. And so I don't know if you want to give them an opportunity to speak, but there is no one on to speak for or against the application besides the applicants.
They are technically members of the public.
Yes, that they are.
So if you have something to say, let's hear it.
What Miranda said, was that a word? She's the only one I'm having trouble hearing for some reason. I apologize. Is that?
I'm missing my headphones, and that makes it better. Brittany, do you want to do a quick introduction?
We're obviously pro variance. It's just a really interesting property with the grading situations and stuff. I'm not sure if you all were able to review the packet, but especially with the erosion that's been happening against the driveway, we think the garage being built there could actually address quite a bit of that, just with the drainage already being a little bit tricky there. Of all the options on the lot of where to locate the garage, it seems to be best, and seems like someone has already had that idea since there's an existing slab and remnants of sill plates and anchor bolts, things like that. I know the owner is definitely interested in keeping it closer to where the original footprint is as much as possible and limiting any site disturbance. There's some substantial grading that would be required locating it anywhere on the backside of that setback. And especially with the way the property line kinks off the road, it just adds some extra feet every every so often. So I think that's as far as least harm done, that's probably the easiest way to go. And especially with how low that edge is, with the driveway coming down off the road, that'll be pretty well tucked behind where the road's at the high point on the edge of the property. So we don't think it'll be too visually intrusive on the way down. Were there any questions that we needed to answer specifically from you all? Or did we already cover that part?
Usually my copy is all marked up with questions, and this was a thorough enough packet that I think you got the job done.
That's great news.
It warms my heart to see that finally being done. I'd like to swing by as you're and take a look as this goes up. This is going to be a fun project.
Right.
Anybody else in the public?
I'm good.
You're Lone Rangers tonight.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we can safely close out public comment on the application. Okay. Let's see, additional. Any clarifying questions from the board that we need to discuss at this time? I guess there's no clarifying questions because there's no public comment. So Miranda, are we safe closing out the public hearing at this point?
If you're ready.
At this point, let's see. So this, I guess we're concluding, the BZA is concluding it's, no, at this point we deliberate, yes, now that we close public comment? And is there any further deliberation that anybody on this board wants to have at this point?
So my question is not really a question, but clarification. So it went from 30 to 12 feet setback. So they're asking for a variance of 18 feet. Is that the way it should be stated?
Well, so
Miranda?
they're seeking to, oh, I see. I guess I look to Attorney Madsen for, I mean, they're seeking to go from a 30-foot setback to a 12-foot setback. So I guess, yes, you could say decrease by 18 feet, but I don't know if it's cleaner just to say a 12-foot setback. Attorney
Okay.
Madsen, do you have a preference?
Just wanted to say, clarify.
Yeah, good question.
That's good clarification, and I'll make sure that if this is approved, that the resolution is clear as to what the approval is.
Okay. Any other clarifying questions? Or are we clear? Okay. Let's see. Okay, then as chair, I guess I need to restate the motion, yes?
I think it would actually
do you
be
have what you
helpful.
need?
It's just helpful for the record to go through the criteria.
Yeah.
So if you could go through the criteria in 1623 and maybe if you can all say facts that support that criteria. If you feel that it's been met.
Okay, so we're referring to section 16-232, yes?
Correct, yes.
Okay. The first requirement is that all physical circumstances or conditions such as irregularity, narrowness, shallowness of the lot, size of the lot, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to the affected property. The aim has the condition is met. The current grade from Doe Trail to the home creates a hindrance as well as excavation work that has been previously done to the property. Now, are you saying, Jennifer, that the board has to weigh in on each one of these?
Yes, each of the criteria, the facts that you believe supported, and not all of you have to speak, but if you if you agree, say, yes, I agree that the grade there's a significant grade from Doe Trail to the home, and whatever is important to you in finding that that condition has been met.
I can say from experience that that condition has been met from sliding down the driveway. Does anybody disagree? Condition 2, that because of such physical circumstances or conditions, the property cannot reasonably be developed in conformity with the provisions of this chapter. Staff said that the grade, concrete pad and prior excavation create physical conditions that make it challenging to comply with the current front yard setback requirement of 30 feet. If the owner was required to comply with the current setback, there would be significant physical changes that would have to be made to the parcel, resulting in concerns about drainage issues. We touched on this earlier. I agree that the condition's been met. Do others, does anybody else want to weigh in or disagree?
Conditions as met.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. Just a quick yes from the rest of you would be helpful.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. We go on to condition C, that unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant. Staff found that the applicant did not create the hardship, as the home is hardships as the work done to the property was completed by the previous owners, not these owners. I agree that this condition has been met. Let's go around the horn. Andrew Bliss.
Yes, I agree.
Ryan.
I agree.
Steve.
Yes, I agree.
Roger.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, then I think we're in good shape there. Condition D, that the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the property is located, nor substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of the property. And well, that's the end of that condition. Staff found the condition was met, that this is not going to alter the character of the neighborhood, as there are other homes with garages built closer to the property line right now, and they were in the packet. So to me, it looks like this condition's been met. Roger.
Yes, the conditions met.
Andrew Blitz.
Yeah, it was helpful they included examples, and when I drove by there yesterday, I saw even more examples of other structures within what I thought was the setback.
Excellent. Ryan.
Yeah.
And I think the way down in the hill, it's going to be even less obvious that it's impeding that setback as you see in other parts of the neighborhood. So yes, I agree.
Excellent. Steve.
Yes, I agree. Conditions been met.
Okay. The fifth one is that the variance, if granted, is the minimum variance that will afford relief and is the least modification possible of this chapter's provisions, which are in question. Staff found the condition was met. The variance will allow the owner to build the garage in a location then on the property that will minimize visual impact from the roadway and serve as a retaining wall. So it's doing double duty. So condition is met in my mind. Steve.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Terrific. Okay. So I at this point, Miranda, did you disappear? You still with us, Miranda?
My internet was saying it was unstable. I'm here, just no video.
Okay. Okay. So is this where I make a motion for Attorney Madsen to put together a resolution to approve this application?
Yes, it is.
Then I make a motion that Attorney Madsen put together a resolution that approves this application, and then I guess we'll be in a position to formalize it at the next meeting on December 1st.
So you're not set to meet in December. That's something you could talk about.
wrong
Otherwise,
meeting.
Brittany and Kyle,
Yeah.
the next time this board comes back together is January 14th. Excuse me, January
Okay.
12th.
Is there, so is this going to be an impediment to the project? Just have to wait until then?
Well, I think that's, and Kyle did raise his hand. I think that's one of the questions is,
Yeah.
does the
Okay.
board need to come back together for quick approval?
Yeah, I wanted to be sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
good. I
do.
want to be sure that we're not going to impact the schedule going forward. It seems like if there is in fact a unanimous approval, I'd kind of like to get the engineer documents completed and at least be ready, if not submitted for a building permit this year, which would be the next step.
That seems reasonable, and we're rapidly running out of year to do this. Miranda, how could we handle it?
I'm wondering, Attorney Madsen, does this meeting and the subsequent minutes give them enough of that cushion to move forward with their building permit without the resolution? If not, then I think the BZA needs to plan to come back together here soon.
Well, I'm not the attorney for the applicant. So I can't really give advice to them as to whether this is enough or sufficient. But it's not formal approval.
Okay.
It's not the document that would be, we need the document that's going to be recorded on the property.
Would the BZA, I'm just wondering, maybe at this group here, are people available on Monday, December 5th to come back together to do a quick vote, even
I
just
think
virtually?
it can be a pretty quick meeting. Folks, what do you think?
I would be available for that. This is Steve.
Okay, Ryan,
I'm available.
Andrew,
Yep, I'm available.
Roger?
It's possible. I'll be in Hawaii. Don't shoot me.
Okay,
Yes, I
It's
could do a
earlier.
video possibly, but with the hour changes and stuff, and I understand, someone that's been at this hearing,
Yeah,
is that one that even if we have 5 people, 4 people could vote on it and still get a positive?
Yes, you could have 4, and then, but couldn't member McLevain or Chair Mull also join and vote, since Roger's an
Yeah,
alternate?
but they have to hear this hearing. They have to listen to the tape
good
or
point.
read a transcript.
Yeah, I think,
I-
but you're, I guess what your question is, let's see, I count 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. We would need a 5th to start the meeting, but we would, if the 4 of us are in alignment, could we, as 4, vote on the 5th and put it through, even if Roger is not in attendance and one of the other members is, but does not vote?
That would work, yes.
Yeah,
Then I
that was
propose
my question. That was my way we could, Kate, well, that's a good one to know always in case somehow something happens and you don't have that 5th person for the quorum. So,
Okay.
But I could certainly, it's late, it's earlier there. So it'd be
Right,
like in the
it would be
afternoon,
3
mid-afternoon.
hours early, 4 hours earlier.
If I have to be by the beach.
You could be
Well,
surfing.
We could
No,
bring it to you,
please.
Roger.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. We'll come to you.
We've
Make
got a
room for
cardboard
us,
cutout.
Roger, though. We're gonna need some pull-out cuts, so. make some
All right, well, we stay in touch. I certainly did this back last spring when we were in Florida, and was able to, go online and participate in a meeting. Wasn't the PZA, but, I can certainly do it as long as and certainly these hotels all have internet.
Right.
So it's a possibility, and I would try to monitor that.
Well, for
Terrific.
such a short meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Hold, we would do it virtually anyways. We wouldn't want the community center
course.
team to set up a whole room for a quick. So it sounds like then we would come back together on December 5th for approval, giving Attorney Madsen time to draft the resolution. And then you would have that, Kyle, in time for before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year is good.
Okay, that's excellent. Thanks for your flexibility, everybody. I believe this will probably set a new world record for the number of BZA meetings in a quarter.
So Tom, I believe that I think I'm missing a second for your motion.
Just a second.
Who said that?
Who was that?
Okay, we have a motion. We
I'll-
need a
I'll
second.
I'll second.
Andrew.
Yep.
Okay, Miranda, can you call the vote, please?
Member CPEC,
Yes.
Member Bliss,
Yes.
Member Villalon,
Yes.
Alternate Cornell,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold.
Yes.
Great.
Congratulations, folks. We'll meet again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks.
Such a pleasure.
Good luck with your project. And you have the benefit of starting construction when materials have come down a bit.
There you go.
I built last year when lumber was 5x what we budgeted.
Ay, caramba. Yep, it's all coming down. Windows are going up, but the lumber is coming.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
Good. It's always going to cost more than you think.
Yes, it is. Thank you all, folks. Have yourselves a
Thank
lovely evening. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. The same to you.
Thanks.
Enjoy yourselves. And Brittany, take good care of my home. Okay, we're back. Okay, let's go. So do I need to close out this section of the meeting formally? Jennifer?
So what I think what would be helpful is if there could be some discussion on the Little Bear Village West fence
Yeah.
and how you all want to handle that.
Okay. I'll start and we'll go round robin. From my reading and walking by the property many times and living as close as I do and driving out of that intersection many times and having been through the meeting last time, I believe all conditions have been met and for that west fence, and I would vote to approve it. Who wants to speak next?
I would say Roger will. It was for the variance, they wanted to go to 7 feet, is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think some of the arguments were pretty good, but I think, quickly, the idea for trying to block the street view and the road being high, and I wasn't certain if I was being at that meeting. Yeah, I drove through that intersection too to test it, try to visualize it. So I agree. Someone could argue that, what if down the line, which was the argument that night, that trying to, think of the worst things that possibly could happen. But I think that does not block the visual clearance down the road there, that you certainly can see traffic coming around the corner there. So I agree with moving ahead.
And just, can I clarify too, there's a couple of different options. You can have a motion tonight to approve the variance, and we'd come back with a resolution probably on December 5th.
Mhm.
But I know, for example, Roger and Ryan were alternates, and I don't know if they're, perhaps you're feeling, Roger, it sounds like you're feeling comfortable for voting tonight. I don't know if Ryan would like to go back and review the record.
Ryan and Roger were both in attendance as alternates. They just didn't vote or speak that night, or they did speak, but not vote.
No, I don't think either one of them spoke. Yeah, but they were both. Yes.
Are we getting
No,
on?
I stated that night that I was in attendance.
Okay.
So we
Are
could,
we on?
So just so just to finish up the options, so you could have a motion tonight, or you could come back at a later date and have a motion at a later date if people wanted to review the record before voting, or for any maybe another reason. I don't know.
I'll throw this open to anybody who wants to talk next about how they think we ought to proceed.
I'll speak. I mean, I think I said my piece, but I think I'd like to hear from the person. I wasn't certain which one was the one that wanted to change their vote and had a change of opinion or a change of ideas. So I think that's the important one that we need to listen to.
Yep, that was Steve Seebeck.
That was me. Yeah, and so my main concern was for the safety of the intersection. And the first time that I drove by, it appeared, and I don't know if that was previous to when they had actually shortened the fence post down, but it appeared that there would be a traffic blockage. In driving by on subsequent days and in talking to people who have actually been in that building and have described the difference in the sound between 6 and 7 feet that's coming from the highway, and the fact that there really is no blockage, there's no more safety concern that I have. So I'm basically admitting that I was wrong in what my main concern was. I do go back to the fact that it was a safety concern, and I always want the best for our community. But at the same note, I want to be fair to the people at Little Bear, and so yeah, the basis of my vote was inaccurate. So I would like to change my vote.
Thanks, Steve. Ryan?
I think what Steve says makes a lot of sense. Whenever I first saw this packet, when Miranda sent it over to us, I didn't think that village should be allowed to raise their fence. I could definitely see that as something that could impede that intersection and potentially cause issues down the road. However, I did drive out there. I listened to y'all's meeting last time, even though I chose not to spoke. I do agree that Little Bear Village should have the opportunity to raise that fence. I think it meets the conditions that the BZA needs to make their decisions by, and also it provides a great benefit to those that are living in Little Bear Village to provide them that extra level of privacy from the road that goes next to them.
Excellent, thanks. Andrew?
My concern at the previous meeting was that I felt like the application did not meet all of the criteria. I still feel like it does not meet criteria B. I have a hard time thinking of a circumstance where a fence height variance would meet criteria B. It sounds like there's enough votes for this variance, so I don't think it's necessary tonight. And we exchanged a few emails on this, but at some point, I think it would benefit me and maybe others on the board to have a pointed training on how these criteria are applied and in discussion around that. Thank you.
That's fair. Would you agree that we could vote tonight?
I have no concern with the board voting tonight, no.
Okay. So hearing what you've heard, Miranda and Jennifer, are we okay to make a motion to proceed?
Yes, I would just like a record from Roger and Ryan that they heard all the evidence and testimony at the hearing last week, and they had reviewed the packet information, just so it's clear for the record that even though they were alternates last week, that they're informed of the testimony and evidence that was provided.
Should I go first?
Please.
Yeah, I read the pack and prepared the pack because it was unclear whether or not I was needed. It wasn't until at the end of the weekend that I was told I wasn't needed. And, but I decided just to come and meet some of the members, which I'm glad I did. And I actually sat at the table and attended the entire hearing and followed every part of the hearing. And I just chose not to really speak because there was enough clarity in the testimony in the discussion that, you know, I had nothing to add that was going to further the hearing or the discussion, but I certainly prepared and familiar with the packet.
Thanks for doing your homework, Roger. Appreciate it. Ryan, it's your turn.
Yes, ma'am. So I did read the packet prior to the meeting. I did attend the meeting over video call, the entirety of the meeting. And same as Roger, I kind of chose not to speak. With this being my first meeting, I did want to see how the BZA operates and votes. And I figured it would be a good thought exercise for me to go back through the packet after the meeting and kind of reanalyze what was discussed and practice for how I would approach those situations in the future and play through the conversations in my head. But yes, I have put a good amount of thought into this issue.
Excellent. Thanks again for you doing your homework. It sets a good standard. Then Jennifer, am I okay to make a motion now?
Yes.
Okay, let's see, before I make it, we're talking it's 2022-04. Is there a dash something to identify it as the west fence?
I think you're just gonna, similar to 47 Dose Trail, you're gonna make a motion to direct Attorney Madsen to draft
Yep.
a resolution approving the west fence variance.
Okay, yeah, I make a motion to direct Attorney Madsen to put together a resolution. I'd like to have it, if possible, in time for the meeting on the 5th, so we can do both at the same time. Is that doable, Attorney Madsen?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then I make a motion to approve the Little Bear Fence west variance. We'll need a resolution. I'd like to vote on it at the December 5th meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. Miranda, can you call the vote?
Member Villalon,
Yes.
Member Sepik,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold,
Yes.
Member Bliss,
No.
Member Cornell.
Yes.
Motion passes. Do we then I guess should we move on to 5.3, appointment of a vice chair?
Yes, please.
Do we have a vice chair?
We don't. So Debbie Davenport was the vice chair. Debbie Davenport submitted her resignation from the BZA at the beginning of this month. We need a vice chair that typically is not Mayor Pro Tem Mahold or alternate Cornell, since they only participate when needed. So Member McIlvaine is obviously not here, but that really leaves Member Bliss, Member Villalon, and Member Sepik to talk through. Member McIlvaine did not indicate that he was interested in the vice chair. I didn't ask him flat out, but he didn't make any comment to me when he notified me he wouldn't be here. So my assumption is he's probably new and is not seeking that role. But that is for you all to debate, since you're all pretty new.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a clean sweep. He didn't express yes, didn't express no. Steve, Ryan, Andrew, I'd ask, are you interested in serving in that role? And I guess before you answer, I guess Miranda, what are the what does the vice chair do?
The vice chair would chair the meeting in the absence of Chair Mole. So Mayor Pro Tem Behold has obviously graciously agreed to do so tonight, but should Chair Mole be absent, the vice chair would chair the meeting. And then in some boards and commissions, I meet with the chair and vice chair. That doesn't appear to be the case for the BZA, but that's also an option too, to meet in advance of the meeting to discuss the agenda item.
Look at all those hands go up.
I know, they're so.
Who's not
so
here? Who missed the meeting?
Member McLevain. So obviously member Villalon,
Well,
member
maybe we
Seelig,
should,
and
should
member
we teach them a lesson?
Well,
Should
you
we
could. I
teach
mean,
them a
member
lesson
Bliss
not
is
to miss the
the
meeting?
member Bliss is the person who's been on the longest. Now, when I say longest, I use that term liberally.
Since like
One-
July, right?
One meeting.
One extra meeting. So yeah, I mean, you could teach member McLevain, but typically whoever takes vice chair would consent to the role before you appointed that person to that role.
I was only kidding about
I'm going to tell member
motivating them while
McLevain.
they weren't here.
I'm going to tell him he got it anyway. It's just
Right.
let's stress him out.
Hey,
You
sorry.
speak up if you're interested in serving in that role, please.
I was going to. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is Steve. I'm just gonna take a pass. If it comes up again in another few months, maybe. But right now I'm just trying to wrap my head around what we have to do on the BCA. So
Good.
it's up to you guys.
Okay. Andrew?
I was going to ask Steve if he was interested. I was going to make a motion for Steve. I am a town employee, and I'm an entry-level operator. Attorney Madsen reviewed my employment with the town, and then since I don't make I'm not a budgetary or decision maker for the town, I'm willing to serve, but I think it'd probably be best for me not to be vice chair, and so Ryan, if you're interested in being vice chair, I would support that.
We lost Ryan for a moment of that. So once Ryan, we lost you. So Andrew, do you want to say that again?
Sorry, I'm at my parents' house and they live out in the middle of nowhere, so my service has been shot this whole time. But no, ma'am, I don't have any interest in the position.
You were doing that.
If Ryan and Andrew really don't want to take the position, if the position needs to be filled, I will take the vice chair.
I was just going to ask Attorney Madsen, does the position have to be filled, or if Mark Mole were to miss a meeting like tonight, can we just pick someone, aka Mayor Pro Tem Behold, to just lead the meetings? I mean, I don't know, because we don't have bylaws. I don't know if a vice chair is required.
Yeah, I'm just looking really quick. I don't think that vice chair is even mentioned in the ordinance.
It's not.
Yeah, so it's not required.
So you could sit it out, Steve, for a little bit longer. And Tom,
I say we review this in January at the next meeting. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think Tom runs a fine meeting.
I agree.
Tom
And so
does
does
run a
Mark.
fine meeting.
Improving.
Tom's just going to be on the hook all the time when Mark can't be here.
I don't mind it. It shouldn't, if we do our jobs right, it shouldn't be that often anyway.
Right.
Okay, with that, do we have other business?
I would just like to make a comment that, what was said earlier about a little more training discussion on the 16.232 on the fire requirements. I know 2 years ago when we actually changed that, that BZA went through a pretty good process of discussion to do it. So I think that actually in possibly even January that, have a little more discussion, because there's certainly Today was a good example. Fence, it's not so clear. A property on the side of a hill is obviously clear what those 5 statements mean and do it. So I think it's always a good conversation. And the last BZA 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever we made this change,
Mhm.
to include all 5 of them, you know, it was actually a complex discussion. Wasn't easy, just as it wasn't easy again at that meeting last week.
Mhm. One thing I think would be extremely helpful when we do this is that we take some of the trickier things we've had to adjudicate before, clean them up a little bit, present them as case studies, and walk through the application of the principles. Is that, do you all agree?
That sounds
I
great.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we'll even see if we come to the same conclusion. But I think there's no better way there's no better simulation than something that actually happened.
Well, it allows us to sort of continue on with some sort of line of logic as far as what the BZA has been doing in the past and should be doing here and forward. So, no, I
Yeah.
think that's a great idea.
Okay.
I would only say that's a good example. Maybe Attorney Mattson would even comment on this, but just as I think at that hearing on the 10th, whenever it was, you know, that was kind of brought up as an example, and I'm certainly not part of the pros and cons, but I also wondered too, though, it's a good learning tool, but I'm not certain that it should be used as an example, at a next hearing to make a motion. Because once, something that was approved or whatever the discussion was, you just never know, and each case is kind of different. So as a training tool, yes, but I think as an idea sometimes that, was used to kind of base upon which way we're leaning or the BZA should lean from, from a ruling from 6 months ago is also something that should actually be part of the training too. Because I know certainly a board of trustees makes a decision and no, that's not historical. It's not held in to be for future use, not necessarily future use, but it doesn't necessarily be law. If someone makes a decision one way or the other, like in what I'm trying to think of, special use, special review, so that, that's not saying, oh, this is president, so all special reviews need to go this way. So I think that would be part of the training too, that, to use examples, but it's not necessarily set in stone when you make a decision.
Agreed.
And I may be wrong on that.
It's never happened before.
That was just historically what I've had learned over the years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And just quickly, it's good to judge each case on its own merits.
Mhm.
I think that's what you're saying, Roger.
Yeah, you said in 3 words what I took 5 minutes.
Any other business we need to consider? Then I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay. Thanks, folks.
Let me take the roll really quick.
Yep.
Member Seebeck,
Yep.
Member Bliss,
Yes.
Member Villalon,
Yes.
Alternate Cornell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mahold.
Yes. And with that, we're adjourned at 8:08.
Perfect. Great
Thanks,
meeting.
enjoy yourself, Roger.
I'll try. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, you won't be in a flannel shirt next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you too, Andrew.
Cheers.
Thanks.